Midnight Miracle. 7-year-old girl's touching message transforms Billionaire's life in an instant. Ella hurried through the bustling streets of her small town, her heart pounding with excitement. The annual summer fair was the highlight of the year. Her mother, Sarah, worked all day at the diner, serving up pancakes and coffee with a side of kindness. Yet, she always made it to the fair, her smile bright against the evening sky. Ella felt rich not in dollars, but in love. As laughter filled the air and children chased each other like fireflies, Ella spotted a man sitting alone on a bench. James Caldwell, the reclusive billionaire with a reputation for being cold and detached. Rumors swirled around him like the cotton candy clouds wafting nearby, poisoning the vibrant atmosphere. He was known to be the king of high-rises but a stranger to warmth. Despite her mother's warnings, Ella felt drawn to him. She approached with her little hands tightly clasped around a melted ice cream cone, her bright blue eyes sparkling with wonder. "Hi, I'm Ella. Want to have some fun?" she asked, her voice pure sunshine. James looked startled, momentarily forgetting his brooding thoughts. He was used to people running from him, not toward him. But something about her honesty drew him in. "Fun? What's that?" he muttered, a hint of a smile teasing the corners of his lips. With bubbling enthusiasm, Ella launched into a story about the fair. "There are games and rides. You should come with me." She didn't know he was a billionaire, just a lonely man who needed a friend. Her laugh was infectious, and for a moment, he felt the shadow on his heart lift. Ella tugged at him, her delight so real, so raw. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, Ella pulled James along. They played games, cheered with the crowd, and shared ice cream that dribbled down their hands. Laughter flowed freely, filling a void in James he didn't know existed. Ella turned to him, her eyes wide with sincerity. "You know, Mr. Caldwell, being rich isn't just about money. It's about love and having friends around you." His heart ached. Could it be true? In this tight-knit community filled with warmth, James felt the truth in her words, reverberating deep within him. Hope flickered, but fear quickly clouded it. Could he really change? As the night stretched on, Ella's joy ignited an ember in his weary chest. And in her innocence, she taught him one crucial lesson. The true wealth of life comes from relationships, not billions. James felt a shift inside, an awakening, but fear clung to his heart like a shadow. Would he find the courage to confront his past and get to know the family he had pushed away? The atmosphere around them brimmed with possibility, but uncertainty loomed large over James. Would he, a man trapped in towers of glass and steel, dare to break free? Would Ella's friendship give him the strength to embrace a different kind of life? With those questions hanging in the air, the chilly night whispered promises of change. James stood at the precipice, wondering if he could leap into a world filled with connection and kindness or fall back into the darkness of solitude, forever haunted by his choices. As the last remnants of daylight faded, the fair's colorful lights began to twinkle like stars in the night sky. Ella tugged on James's sleeve, her excitement brightening the darkening atmosphere. "Come on, Mr. Caldwell. We have to go on the Ferris wheel. It's the best ride. You can see everything from up there." James hesitated, glancing at the towering Ferris wheel that loomed over the fairground. Heights had always made him uneasy, yet he couldn't deny the warmth in Ella's smile. It was like a beacon, breaking down the walls he had built around himself. "All right, but if I scream, you have to promise not to laugh," he replied, trying to mask his trepidation with humor. Ella giggled and led him through the crowd. They boarded the ride and, as they ascended, James felt the tension in his chest loosen ever so slightly. In that moment, high above the world, He could hear Ella's laughter echoing through the night, her joy infectious. The lights of the fair danced below them, creating a magical view. "Look, you can see the whole town," she exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. "Isn't it beautiful?" James nodded, though he wasn't looking at the scenery. Instead, he was mesmerized by Ella's enthusiasm. It really is." For the first time in ages he felt alive, filled with a warmth he mistook for nostalgia. Once they reached the top, the wheel stopped, allowing them a few extra moments to take it all in. The night sky was a deep velvet blue, dotted with stars. When I was little, I thought the Ferris wheel could take me all the way up to the stars," Ella mused. Her voice was a gentle thread weaving through the night. "I wanted to meet one. I wanted to see how they twinkled and if they had feelings like we do." James chuckled softly, caught off guard by her innocent imagination. "What would you say if you met one?" he asked, leaning closer, intrigued. She paused, looking thoughtful. "I'd tell them that they're beautiful and that they're loved. Just like everyone should know." Her gaze drifted toward him, unwavering, as if she were peering into his very soul. His chest tightened. Those words struck a chord deep within him. Love felt distant and out of reach for so long. He nodded, the reality of their weight sinking in. Yet doubt lingered. "Ella, how can you be so sure? It's easy to say those things, but what if they don't feel loved? What if they're alone?" The questions spilled out in a rush, unveiling fears he had buried for years. Ella frowned, her small brow furrowing in concentration. "But everyone has someone, even if they don't see it. You just have to open your heart. At least that's what my mom taught me." James felt the knot in his chest tighten again, but this time he recognized it as hope. She was right. Deep down, he had pushed everyone away without realizing it, thinking wealth would fill that emptiness. The wheel began to descend, slowly pulling them back to solid ground. Ella's chatter filled the air around them, but James's mind drifted. Could he start connecting again? Could he reach out to the family he had left behind? Hope clashed with fear inside him, battling for dominance. When the ride finally came to a stop, Ella hopped off the seat, her spirit undampened. "Let us go find the corn dogs. You've got to try one. They're the best." As she pulled him toward the food stall, James cast one last glance back up at the Ferris wheel. It loomed over the fairground like a guardian of dreams. Could he transform his life as Ella had inspired him? A flicker of determination sparked in his heart. But before he could answer that question, another thought struck him. "Ella, what if there's someone I've hurt that I need to talk to?" Ella paused, turning her head to look at him. Her little fingers were gripping his tightly, grounding him in this moment. "Then you should. Because everyone deserves a chance to feel loved." As the fair lights flickered ahead, James's heart beat loudly. Could he really face the people he had hurt? And as the question hung in the air, one thought stood out. Time was running out. Would he take that leap, or would he let the moment slip away again? The aroma of fried food wafted through the air, tantalizing and inviting. James followed Ella, almost on autopilot, lost in the whirlwind of emotions. She dragged him toward the vibrant food stand, where the glow of neon lights mixed with the laughter of fair patrons. It was overwhelming, yet oddly comforting. "Corn dogs," Ella exclaimed, practically bouncing on her heels. "You won't believe how good they are." James chuckled, a genuine smile breaking through his earlier uncertainty. Watching her excitement was like watching the dawn chase away the night. They stood in line, and he found himself watching her more than the glowing menu above him. The way her eyes sparkled, how her tiny hands fidgeted with excitement, it reminded him of a time when joy felt simple and uncomplicated. As they reached the front of the line, Ella practically leaped forward. "2 corn dogs, please," she declared with a bright enthusiasm that seemed to brighten the faces of even the grumpy vendor. James admired her confidence and wondered how someone so small could possess such a big heart. With warm corn dogs in hand, they sidestepped to a quieter area of the fair. Ella took a big bite and her eyes widened. "See? Amazing." James took a hesitant bite of his own. The first taste hit him deep, crispy, warm, and surprisingly fulfilling. "Wow, you were right," he declared, and a laugh bubbled from Ella. But as he bit into the treat, his mind wandered back to the conversation they had just shared. Her words echoed in his ears. Everyone deserves a chance to feel loved. Before he could fully relish the moment, he turned serious. "Ella, I was thinking, if there is someone I need to reach out to, how do I even start?" Ella paused mid-bite, her expression shifting into one of resolve. "You have to be brave," she said earnestly. "Talk to them. Tell them how you feel. What is stopping you?" James took a deep breath. "I guess I just don't know if they want to hear from me. It's been so long. But that's why you should try." She leaned in closer, as if sharing a secret. "You could make them happy. And it would probably make you feel better too. It's like me with you. I wanted you to have fun. And look, you are." Her unwavering conviction struck him harder than he expected. She had this innate ability to see things as they were, without the layers of hesitation that adults often accumulated. "What if they don't forgive me, Ella?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Fear settled in his chest like a heavy stone. "Then at least you tried. You wouldn't know unless you do it," Ella exclaimed, her voice bright and unwavering. "And I promise you, Mr. Caldwell, you're stronger than you think." As they finished the corn dogs, James felt a ripple of courage rise within him, mingling with the warmth of Ella's support. Maybe reaching out wouldn't be so scary after all. But just as he stood on the precipice of hope, he was aware of a piece of his heart still tied in knots. "Okay," he said, contemplating the gravity of what she suggested. "I'll think about it. But I need a plan." Ella's grin widened, and she grabbed his hand. "Let us find a place to sit and talk. Maybe something will come to you." As they walked through the fair, a cacophony of laughter and music enveloped them. Everything felt alive, which was more than James had felt in years. There was a lightness in their steps, a sense of possibility blooming. But just then, his phone buzzed in his pocket. The harsh tones sliced through the magic of the moment. He pulled it out, glancing at the screen. His heart dropped. It was a message from his mother. James felt a weight pressing down on him again. The decision loomed large before him. Confront the past or stay locked in the comfortable chains of his present. Ella looked up at him, sensing his sudden shift in mood. "Mr. Caldwell, is everything okay?" He hesitated, staring at the phone in his hand. I need to think about some things. But what if this was the moment that changed everything?" "I'll be right back, Ella," he said, stepping away from her, his heart racing. As he looked back, he saw her watching, unwavering and hopeful. Time was running out, and the chance to transform his life was now in his hands. Would he answer the call of change, or slip back into silence? James took a deep breath, watching Ella's small form grow smaller as he walked away from her. The happiness of the fair faded, replaced by a heavy fog of memories that clung to him. The message from his mother was a specter he couldn't ignore. Unfurling the phone, he stared at the words, "We need to talk. It's important." Each letter pricked at him like a thorn, unveiling a past he wanted to leave buried. Memories of arguments, hurtful words, and missed chances flooded back. How could he open that door again? He found a secluded spot, a quiet corner by a flickering light. The bright ambience of the fair felt worlds away, almost a cruel contrast to the turmoil brewing inside him. He glanced up, and for a brief moment, headlights from a passing ride cast streaks of color across his face, reminding him of Ella's vibrant spirit. She was a beacon in the darkness, a spark of hope. He tapped on the screen, fighting the urge to throw the phone away. After years of silence, why did she want to reach out now? Could she really be sorry? Was he ready to face whatever it was she had to say? With every passing second, uncertainty wrapped tighter around him. He wanted to pick up the phone, to confront the past like Ella encouraged him to. But his heart raced with a cocktail of fear and regret. Suddenly, a voice broke through the waves of anxiety. "Mr. Caldwell?" Ella popped into view, her eyebrows scrunched in concern. "You okay? You've been gone for a while." The storm raging inside him stilled momentarily at her presence. She was like a lifeline, reminding him that perhaps he could hold on without being dragged under. "I got a message," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. His eyes fell to the ground, as if he could bury the weight of that message under the damp grass. "It's complicated. I don't know if I'm ready." Ella stepped closer, her hands clasped together as if she had a secret to share. Sometimes, things that seem hard can turn into something good. Her belief in him was almost disarming. "You think so?" "Yes. Like when I was nervous about the school play. I thought I'd mess up. But I did it." The audience clapped. "You can do it too." James chuckled softly. "You really aren't afraid of anything, are you?" "Only the stuff that can't be fixed," she said, her tone fierce yet innocent, and for a moment, he felt that fierce spirit ignite something within him. What if this is one of those things that can't be fixed? He mused, staring into her bright eyes. What if it just leads to more hurt? Ella reached for his hand, her tiny fingers enveloping his. "Then you'll at least know, right? Like you won't have to wonder." The warmth of her grip sliced through the chill of doubt swirling in his chest. He looked down at her and noticed her unwavering gaze, filled with compassion and determination. At that moment, he realized he had been giving up before even trying. "Okay," he said, feeling a new mix of calm and resolve slipping in. "Maybe I can give it a shot. I'll answer her." Just as those words left his lips, the sounds of laughter and celebration echoed around them. Yet for James, all that noise faded into the background as clarity washed over him. Ella beamed, her joy contagious. "See? You're already being brave." Just then, his phone buzzed again, and a fresh wave of apprehension washed over him. It was another message from his mother. She was already waiting, and he could feel that world he'd avoided beckon him like an open door. "Are you ready?" Ella asked, her gaze steady and full of faith. James held his breath, feeling the rush of possibilities. "I think so." But as he turned to face that door marked with the past, a shadow loomed over him. What awaited him on the other side sparked both dread and a flicker of hope. Ella squeezed his hand tighter. "Just remember, change is good." With a nod, he prepared to confront the weight of his history. Would this be the moment that shifted everything for him and for her? He took a step forward but then paused, glancing back at her. "I just hope I can handle whatever comes next." She smiled brilliantly, light that cut through the uncertainty. "You're going to be just fine." With that, James moved towards the unknown, his heart thrumming with a mixture of dread and possibility, ready to face whatever awaited him. But as he reached for the door of his past, a chilling realization struck him. What if his mother wasn't the only one he needed to confront? What if there were others still waiting to hear his voice? And just like that, the stakes climbed higher, and what lay ahead became even murkier. James stood before the door, his hand hovering just above the handle, the vibration of his phone pulsing in his pocket like a heartbeat. The music from the fair felt like a distant memory now, fading into the background as anxiety rooted him in place. He stole a glance at Ella, whose wide-eyed expression radiated encouragement. The weight of her belief in him lent him a moment of strength. His heart raced as he considered what lay beyond this threshold. Would answering his mother illuminate the dark corners of his past? Or would it cast an even darker shadow over the fragile hope he had just began to embrace? Taking a deep breath, he let the wave of uncertainty wash over him, then turned the handle. The door creaked open, revealing the dimly lit hallway of memories. Each step felt heavier than the last as he crossed the threshold, but Ella's presence remained steady behind him, a promise of unwavering support. "James?" His mother's voice filtered through the darkness, soft yet laced with urgency. "Yeah, Mom, it's me," he replied, his voice trembling. The years of unresolved tension came rushing back, pressing against his chest. He walked into the small living room where a few framed pictures on the wall caught his eye. Their smiles, frozen in time, looked so foreign yet familiar. There was happiness there, but also the ghost of pain in each frame, lurking just beneath the surface. "Thank you for coming," she said, her voice carrying the weight of regret. "I wasn't sure if you would." James took a seat, the worn fabric of the couch a reminder of how long this space had been a part of his life. Well, I guess I'm here now, he replied, trying to sound more confident than he felt. They sat in silence for a moment, the air thick with unspoken words and unresolved feelings. His mind flashed back to the last time they spoke, a storm of arguments leaving nothing but a wake of hurt and anger. I'm sorry for how things went between us. His mother finally spoke, her gaze falling to her hands on the table, fingers fidgeting nervously. I didn't know how to be a good mother. I thought I was protecting you. Protecting me? His voice rose, a mixture of anger and bewilderment. You don't know what that felt like. You left me to deal with everything on my own. She looked up sharply, her eyes glistening. I know. I regret it every day. Then why now? James interrupted, the flood of emotions threatening to bubble over. Why reach out after all these years? I wanted to explain there's something important you should know. Something I kept from you. Something that might change how you view everything. She said, her voice steady. James clenched his fists, anxiety spiking. What are you talking about? His mother took a deep breath. It's about your father and the reason for everything that happened. A bolt of shock shot through him. The weight of every conflict. Every strained moment tilting precariously at the edge of resolution, yet a part of him braced for the worst. Would he be ready for another layer of truth? Just then, a sudden knock at the door echoed through the room, jarring them both from their moment. James's heart sank. If his mother had more to share, could it be connected to another unexpected face from the past? Who could that be? James whispered, catching Ella's hopeful gaze from the corner of his eye. I don't know, but we should see. His mother's voice trembled, almost pleading. As James stood up, the uncertainty lurking in the air thickened. Would this visitor bring another revelation, or add more turmoil to an already turbulent situation? He moved toward the door, doubts swirling in his mind. What awaited him on the other side of that door held more implications than just answers about his father. With his stomach in knots, he turned the handle, unsure of who or what he would find. But one thing was clear. Life as he knew it was about to shift once again. James hesitated, his hand hovering over the door handle as his heart pounded against his ribcage. He glanced back at his mother, whose expression flickered between fear and hope, and then at Ella, who offered an encouraging nod, urging him to face whatever lay ahead. He took a deep breath and opened the door. Light spilled into the small, dim room, illuminating a figure standing just beyond the threshold. The silhouette was familiar. It was his childhood friend, Sarah, sporting the same bright smile that once made every summer afternoon feel magical. But now, that smile bore the weight of 1,000 untold stories. James, she exclaimed, her voice a melody of surprise and relief. I was hoping I'd find you here, Sarah. He blinked in disbelief, caught completely off guard. He hadn't seen her in years. Memories of playing in the park, laughter echoing in the air, rushed back to him, flooding his mind with warmth and nostalgia. What are you doing here? His heart began to race again, but for different reasons, now more hopeful, yet still trembling on the edge of uncertainty. I came to see if everything was okay. I heard about your mom, she said, stepping inside as if she belonged there still. Ella shifted slightly, giving them space, her eyes darting between the two friends. Yeah, it's complicated, James stumbled, suddenly acutely aware of the heaviness woven into the fabric of that room. The room steeped in tension, worries, and unsaid words. Sarah tilted her head, studying him. You look just like you did back then, but you seem different. Is there something you want to share? You know, I used to be good at listening. James opened his mouth to speak, but his mother's voice cut through the moment. Sarah, it's good to see you. Just to clarify, actually, Sarah interjected with a bright grin. I'm part of the reason I came by. Her gaze shifted to him, a twinkle of mischief dancing in her eyes. I know it's been years, but I found something that I thought could help you both. Confusion settled on James's face. Help? Yes. It's a box of old letters. From your dad. Her tone shifted to something more serious as she produced a small, weathered box from the satchel slung over her shoulder. I stumbled upon them while cleaning out my attic and thought it might be a sign to bring them to you. The air around them buzzed with a sudden intensity. James's breath caught in his throat. Letters? His father's letters? He hadn't thought of him or what was left behind in a long time. James, maybe this is what we need, Ella whispered, pushing against his shoulder gently, a gesture of support that urged him to open this door, to one that he thought had been closed forever. But what if he couldn't shake the feeling of dread? What if these letters only unraveled more bitterness? What if the truth behind them was more painful than he could bear? Hey, whatever they say, we'll face it together, Sarah said softly, stepping closer to him. Feeling overwhelmed, James glanced back at his mother. Her expression echoed his uncertainty, yet also held a glimmer of hope. Do you really think they could change everything? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Sometimes the past holds the key to the present, Sarah replied, her eyes sincere. You just have to be brave enough to unlock it. James took the box from her hand. It felt heavier than it looked, as if it were filled with not just paper, but years of memories and secrets that had yet to be unveiled. He took a moment, weighing the possible ramifications of this choice. Could opening this box lead him down a path of understanding, or would it deepen the rift he had struggled so hard to push past? As he steadied his breath, a sense of determination surged within him. It was time to confront the past, no matter how painful. What do you say we go through it together? He asked, looking at the small group around him, searching for strength in their faces. Ella squeezed his arm tight, and Sarah nodded enthusiastically. His mother offered a faint smile, a tentative agreement to step into this journey alongside him. With shaky hands, James opened the box, ready to face whatever truths lay inside. As he pulled out the first letter, a chill ran through him, and he couldn't shake the feeling that life was on the brink of another shift. But what if the words within could finally lead him home? James stared at the weathered box, his heartbeat echoing like thunder in his ears. He felt as if he were staring into a void filled with whispers of the past. He focused on the first letter, its paper slightly yellowed, the edges frayed, proof of time well spent. With trembling fingers, he unfolded it, barely able to breathe. The familiar scrawl of his father decorated the page, pulling him back into a world he thought he'd left behind. Dear James, the letter began. If you're reading this, it means I'm not there with you anymore. His throat tightened, and he had to pause. The words knotted inside him, a mixture of grief and longing. Beside him, Ella leaned in closer, her presence a comforting anchor. He could feel his mother's eyes on him, filled with a blend of hope and trepidation. He skimmed through the words. His father spoke about regrets, about moments missed in his son's life, and how he wished he had been braver. James could almost hear his father's voice, warm yet distant, echoing through the letter. As he read further, a sense of clarity began to wash over him. I want you to know, the letter continued, that being your father was the greatest gift I could ever ask for. I may not have shown it enough, and for that, I am truly sorry. Tears threatened to spill from James's eyes as he grappled with the feelings of loss and love wrestling within him. His mother's soft sigh broke the stillness. Maybe he knew that he wouldn't have the chance to say it face to face, she murmured, her voice tinged with nostalgia. James looked at her, seeing the pain etched across her face, and something shifted in him. It was more than just a letter. It was a connection to the father he had missed for so long. He wished he could be done better, James whispered, his voice breaking. He wanted us to understand, to forgive. That's an important gift to have, James, Sarah said, her tone reassuring. But you don't have to carry the burden of that remorse. You're here now, alive and full of possibilities. Encouraged by her words, James took a deep breath and turned to the next letter. This one was more pliable and clean, almost as if it hadn't weathered the years as harshly. Dear James, it started. I realized something recently. Life is made up of moments shared with those we love. James's pulse quickened again, and as he moved through the letter, a shift occurred in his chest. His father wrote about joy, laughter, and simple memories, the little victories that often go unspoken. Each sentence pulled at his heart like a fishing line, reeling in everything he had tucked away. His mother's hand brushed against his. It sounds like he wanted to be part of your journey still, she said softly. Even if it's just through ink and paper. Yes, James echoed, feeling a warmth radiate through him. This is more than I thought it could be. As he flipped to another letter, intent on discovering more hidden wisdom, he felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. Words that felt forgotten were now reanimating his spirit. They were not just echoes of pain but whispers of encouragement, urging him to embrace the future anew. Suddenly, the small room felt less like a prison and more like a sanctuary. With each letter, James began to see a path forward, a line connecting his past to the present. There was still so much to learn, and the journey was just beginning. Let us keep going, he said, his voice steadier now. Let us see what else he wanted to tell us. He reached for another letter, the anticipation coursing through him like a rush of electricity. Whatever awaited him next, he felt ready to discover it. But as he unfolded the new letter, his eyes widened at the sight of the words inscribed. What he found within could change everything he thought he knew about his father. Would he be prepared for the truth that lay waiting? James's heart raced as he unfolded the letter, the paper feeling almost electric beneath his fingers. The ink was bold, a stark contrast against the creamy backdrop. His breath caught as he read the bold lettering. There is something I need to confess. His mother's gaze flicked to him, curiosity mingling with a hint of fear. Ella's hand squeezed his, silently urging him to proceed. James steadied himself, swallowing hard as he dived into the words. James, I've always believed in the power of truth, my truth, your truth. There's a part of my life that I haven't shared with you because I thought it would protect you. The letter took a sudden turn, revealing secrets that felt like they shouldn't belong on paper. His father went on to talk about a past he had never heard of, a family he had never met. Names appeared in the letter that felt foreign yet strangely intimate. Your sister, Claire, she's out there. I've missed her life just as I've missed yours. But it's important for you to know that she exists. Stunned, James felt the ground shift beneath him. A sister? He had grown up as an only child. The thought of another sibling was both thrilling and bewildering. His mind raced with questions he never anticipated. But why didn't you ever tell me? He murmured, frustration mingling with confusion. Please understand, I was ashamed. Claire was born from a relationship I had long before I met your mother. I hoped to shield you from the complications. But now I realize how mistaken I was. His father's words filled him with a whirlwind of emotions, betrayal mixed with an aching curiosity. The letter continued, offering apologies that resonated deeply. James could almost hear the weight in his father's voice, the sadness of paths untaken. You deserve to know your whole story, to understand where you come from. Life isn't just about us, James, it's about connections, family, and love. A tear slipped down James's cheek. The concept of family felt like it was expanding beyond what he had known. He gazed at his mother, who was looking back at him, her face a canvas of surprise and disbelief. Sarah, I had no idea, she whispered, her eyes betraying shock. James inhaled sharply. This isn't just about secrets. She's out there, Mom. I have a sister. Maybe we could meet her? Sarah hesitated, her hands twisting anxiously in her lap. That's a big step, sweetheart. We need time to process this. It's a lot. James knew she was right, but the thought of Claire living, breathing, somewhere in the world was exhilarating. He felt both the excitement of possibility and the weight of uncertainty. David, the man behind the box of letters, had opened a door to a future he never thought possible. Was Claire like him? Did she have the same quirks and dreams? The longing to connect grew stronger with each word of the letter. But just then, an unexpected emotion gripped him. What if she didn't want to know him? What if she had a life completely separate from his? The thought sparked a flicker of panic within him. James, you don't have to rush into this. Ella's voice was soothing. This news is monumental. You can take your time to think it through. He nodded, though his heart raced with curiosity. The letter felt like a catalyst, a challenge to seek the bonds that tethered him to something greater. I need to reach out to her, I have to find her. As he set the letter aside, his mind was already forming plans. But one question echoed louder than the rest. Did Claire even want to be found? With the night stretching ahead, filled with potential, James felt trapped between fear and hope. The thought of his sister loomed large, uncharted and untouched. What would his next move be? His fingers brushed against another letter, inviting and demanding his attention. As he reached for it, something in his gut told him the next revelation could reshape everything once more. What else had his father left unspoken? James's fingers trembled as he picked up the next letter, the edges worn and fragile, as if it had been held tightly by someone who had poured their soul into it. He felt a mix of dread and excitement bubbling inside him. What would this new letter reveal? With a deep breath, he unfolded it carefully, his heart thudding in his chest. James, if you're reading this, it means I've taken a step I feared to take for so long, the letter began. It was undeniably in his father's handwriting, the familiar loops and swirls striking a chord of nostalgia. I never wanted to burden you with the weight of my past, but there are pieces of our family puzzle that have shaped who we are today. You may not understand right now, but please know that love threads through all of this, though it often took the form of choices I wish I could change. James's eyes widened. Choices? What choices? The words seemed to leap off the page, igniting his desire to delve deeper into the story hidden in the lines. I have always had a soft spot for Claire. She was a joy to me, a bright light that I lost sight of amidst my mistakes. I tried to do right by her, but I failed in ways that haunt me. I always hoped that one day I could explain everything to you, to give you both the answers you deserve. But now, I realize that I can no longer hide behind that hope. A knot formed in his throat. A wave of sympathy crashed over him for his father, for the sister he had never met, and for the gaping unknown waiting for him. I have enclosed another letter. It's from Claire, and it might help you understand. I hope it brings you the clarity I couldn't provide. Whatever happens moving forward, remember that family is worth searching for, even if the journey scares you. James's breath hitched. Another letter. Did Claire know he was out there? Did she have anything to say to him? He felt Ella lean closer, the warmth of her support wrapping around him like a blanket. Are you okay? She whispered, her voice barely above a murmur. I think so, he replied, his heart racing with uncertainty and hope combined. With trembling hands, he opened the second letter, the handwriting starkly different from his father's. It was soft yet bold, filled with energy but also a sense of shyness. Dear James, it began, if you're reading this, then you found my brother, and that makes me so happy. I've always wondered about you. The pictures I saw in our mother's box showed a boy with a big smile and bright eyes. That's what I picture in my mind. Tears stung at James's eyelids as he read on. Claire spoke about her life, her dreams, and the moments she imagined sharing with him. She spoke of her hope that one day they could meet the sibling bond they had both been missing. Sometimes I think about you, about what you'd like. I want to know your favorite things and tell you mine. Honestly, I was scared to reach out. I didn't know if you wanted to know me at all. James felt a deep longing surge within him. She felt the same hesitation he did. As the words settled into his heart, a realization washed over him. They were connected, not just by blood, but by the same longing for family, for understanding, for belonging. Without thinking, he glanced at his mother, who was still trying to process everything. Mom, he said, his voice steady now, I think I want to reach out to her. I need to. Her eyes widened, filled with an array of emotions: love, concern, and an unspoken pride. Are you sure, sweetheart? James nodded, determination flooding his veins. She's my sister. I need to meet her. But as the thought solidified, an uneasy feeling settled in James's stomach. What if Claire was happy where she was? What if she didn't want to disrupt her life? I hope she wants to know me, he breathed, glancing down at the letter once more, as if it held the answers to his fears. His heart ached with both excitement and uncertainty. Would they be able to bridge the years and silence that divided them? He looked at Ella, who nodded quietly, but James's thoughts drifted. There it was again, the looming question: what if this new connection came with more complications than he could handle? As he set down the letters, the night loomed ahead, filled with questions and possibilities. His heart raced with the thrill of discovery and the fear of rejection mingling together. Would he find the courage to reach out? Would Claire even respond? James pressed the letters to his chest, the weight of potential hanging as heavy as a stone. What awaited him on the other side of this leap into the unknown? James sat in the dim light, the letters scattered before him like map pieces of a long-forgotten journey. His heart thudded in rhythm with hope and uncertainty. The face of Claire, the sister he had just discovered, swam vividly in his mind, accompanied by the gentle, nurturing spirit Ella had shown him. He glanced over at his mother, whose eyes were shimmering with a blend of emotions: fear, curiosity, and something like relief. She opened her mouth as if to speak, but then clasped her hands tighter, drawing strength from the moment. "James," she finally said softly, "this is a lot for both of us." "I know, Mom," he replied, his voice steadier than he'd expected. "But it feels like it's time. I need to stop running from the past." Ella nodded, her eyes alight with encouragement. "You can do it, Mr. Caldwell. Honestly, it's like the fair, sometimes you just have to jump on the ride." He laughed, a nervous, genuine sound that cut through the tension in the room. It was true. This leap felt just as thrilling and terrifying as soaring high on the Ferris wheel. With a deep breath, he picked up the letter from Claire again, absorbing the warmth of her words. "I want to know your favorite things. I've always wondered about you." James ran a hand through his hair, wrestling with the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside. Part of him feared reaching out. What if Claire was happier without him in her life? But then, another part whispered that the connections they could forge were worth the risk. He had spent too many years in solitude, clinging to fears instead of embracing possibilities. Maybe he was being given a chance to create something beautiful. "Sarah," he said, feeling bold, "could you help me figure out what to say to her?" "Absolutely," she exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. "Just speak from your heart, like you did when you read those letters. Honesty has a way of finding its way home." Those words struck a chord deep within him. Home. It echoed in his mind, illuminating paths he had long neglected. This journey could lead him not only to Claire but to a fuller understanding of himself, to a future enriched by belonging and connection. James took a moment and spoke slowly, drafting a response in his mind. "Dear Claire, my sister, I'm so glad you reached out. I've spent so long wondering about you, wanting to know who you are," he began, the words flowing like water breaking free from a dam. He described his childhood, the weight of silence, and the flickers of hope that had now begun to bloom. As James poured his heart onto the paper, he turned his thoughts to the bonds he'd forged with Ella during the fair. He wrapped his finishing words with thanks to both her and their newfound friendship. He reflected that love transcended distance and time, creating moments that stitched one heart to another. Once he finished, he looked up, adrenaline coursing through him. "I think I'm ready to send it." His mother smiled proudly. "I'm proud of you, James. Reaching out is an act of courage." Ella squealed with excitement. "Yes. You're like a superhero, saving families, one letter at a time." With an amused shake of his head, James felt the momentum building, like a wave gathering strength. "Okay, here goes nothing," he murmured, gripping the letter tightly. As he took a deep breath and entered Claire's address into his phone, he felt the pulse of new life fueling his veins. The moment he hit send, an exhilarating rush coursed through him. "What's done is done," he said, his voice steady. "Now all we have to do is wait." Moments later, a new thought stirred in his heart. He began, glancing at his mother and Sarah, "We should do something together. Something that opens our home to each other. I'd like to organize a family picnic once I hear back from Claire. That is." His mother's eyes lit up at the idea, the notion of reconnection mixing with her longing to unify what had been fractured. "That sounds wonderful," she replied, the joy in her voice evident. Ella jumped in. "I'll help. We can make sandwiches and bring fun games. This will be the best day ever." And as the excitement crescendoed in their planning, James felt lighter, as though lifting a load he hadn't even realized he was carrying. They made arrangements to host a day of laughter and connection, filled with dreams of joy and a rekindling of family bonds. He envisioned what it would be like to share stories over sweet tea, hear peals of laughter from children running about, and bask in the glow of warmth. Days slipped by, filled with anticipation, and every time James reached for his phone, a flicker of hope ignited. But just as anticipation reached its peak, that fateful day came. A notification pulsed on his phone. His heart leaped. Claire. With shaking hands, he opened the message. Dear James, it's me. I've been waiting for this moment, and I can't wait to tell you about everything. Can we meet? Yours truly, Claire. Tears pricked at his eyes. A blend of joy and relief flooded him. He shared the message with everyone gathered, and the overwhelming joy erupted. See, all the bravery was worth it. Ella cheered, and his mother beamed back at him, pride shining through the tears of joy. James knew then that this was just the beginning, a launchpad into healing and rediscovery. Families could be built, connections restored, and love could glimmer again just as brightly as carnival lights against a deep blue evening. As they prepared for that family picnic, James felt ready not just to meet a sister he had yearned for, but to reconnect with love, warmth, and the unbreakable bonds that weave through family. He felt the world open up before him, blooming with infinite possibilities, knowing now that the past could coexist with hope, and the future awaited with open arms. And in that realization, James knew this was truly where his heart belonged. Now, let this moment be your push for change. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss another story that can transform lives, yours included. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and bring more stories of hope into the world. Comment with your feelings about James's journey. What's your favorite part? And wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear about transformation and courage. Your support makes all the difference.